You have to go back to 2008 to when Tottenham last won a trophy. In 2019, to be fair to them, they did make the finals of the Champions League, but unfortunately Liverpool just come out on top on that one. And to be fair, they've had some really good players over this time as well. The likes of Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, and also Gareth Bale, and still they have not won a trophy in this time frame. And today we're going to try and turn that around by giving us a 4 to 5 season rebuild, depending on how well we do, and hopefully bring some trophies back to Tottenham. If we take a look at Tottenham as a club then, you can see right here some of the players we do obviously have. We have Harry Kane and no current vice-captain, so we're going to have to pick one for that scenario. We've obviously got Pepe Matar Sarr as the hot prospect coming in as well. In terms of what we're expected to do, if we go to the supporter culture, we can see the supporter culture and expectations. So they expect us to qualify for the Champions League, play entertaining football, play attacking football. That's pretty much some of the most favoured things, or preferred and desired and required from the actual supporter culture. Now, in terms of the actual media, we are predicted to finish in 6th place, which I think is more realistic than getting top 4 in the first season. To be honest, there's a lot of players which do need to be removed from this team for us to move forwards. Now, facility-wise, we know that Tottenham has got the best stadium in the Premier League, realistically, and also some of the best facilities. So that is one thing we're not going to be falling behind on when we actually took on this challenge. As we've got 5-star training facilities, 4-star youth facilities, 3-star junior and 3-star youth recruitment. It's a lovely stadium here. Now, I genuinely do feel that we can come out and sort of rebuild this club in 4 to 5 years. I think it's going to be a good time frame. Obviously, it's not going to be easy. Of course, it's not going to be easy. But realistically, this club, I feel, has got a lot of potential as a club, but they've just failed to win many trophies in recent years. And hopefully, with a little change up of the squad, we can change that. So I wasted no time clearing out some of the deadwood in this team, and Davinson Sanchez is going to be the first player to go. This player here is going to go to Monaco for $2.5 million. Up next is going to be Hugo Lloris, who goes to Monaco as well. So him and Sanchez join the same club, and he goes for $7.5 million. Same goes for Tanganga. He goes out on loan to Juventus because a very similar story to Dane Scarlett. I don't want to sell him just yet because we have seen very good glimpses of this player. So hopefully a season in Italy can really give him a chance to thrive and he can come back and get into the first team, if not very close to be. Of course, for those players going out, we have got some players coming in. And the first one is going to be a signing that obviously has already been made in real life. That is going to be James Maddison. Now, I'm actually quite a big fan of this. I'm surprised he went to Tottenham in many ways, but I don't know what other clubs were sort of knocking. Obviously, he was linked to Newcastle for quite some time, but chose Tottenham, and fair play to him. He's an absolutely incredible midfield player. He's not the youngest of the youngest. Obviously, he's going to be fine for us in this save, but his attributes are already very, very impressive. Great at dribbling, great free kick taken, great bit of flair on him, good vision, good agility, good balance, pretty much everything you want for him to play in that attacker midfielder role, and I think he's going to suit it really well. Of course, we needed another goalkeeper, and we turned to Robert Sanchez. Now, I do believe this is going to be, I pretty much signed this keeper because I'm doing it realistic, and there's not going to be many goalkeepers that would consider Tottenham realistically, but a keeper from Brighton, I think, could be swung in that favour to join Tottenham at any point. Obviously, we could have gone for a Diogo Costa or anything like that, but it's not really going to happen in my opinion. So this is a very solid option, obviously proven in the Premier League, as we can see here. Going on to the career stats, he's been at Brighton for a majority of his year, pretty much all the time, apart from a couple of loan stints at Forest Green and Rochdale, but most of the time he's been in the Prem, as you can see here, about 4 seasons in the Prem. So for me, he's a Premier League proven keeper. And of course, we needed another centre-back, and that is where we turn to Antonio Silva, obviously previously from Benfica, and this is a very go-to FM signing, and a signing which I think wouldn't be past Tottenham to make in real life. He didn't actually cost me that much either, and again, he's a wonder kid, the age of 19 as well, current ability sitting at 2.5 stars, potential of basically 4. Getting him here, £77,000 a week is what he was on, and his transfer fee was a stagger, well, not a lot actually, 23 million, so not a lot at all in my opinion. You can see here he's played in Portugal his entire career, so it is a big move for him coming over to England, but hopefully we can sort of get him here, get him performing, because we've now improved that back line already massively. What I've done is I've gone over to the tactic page and we have locked in a few players which I really want to play in those areas. So we are going to make sure they get the game time exactly where I've chosen them. And that is going to be Sanchez, obviously in goal. The back partnership of Silva and Romero is actually really impressive, so we're going to lock them two in. Son on the left, obviously, Maddison in the AM spot, and also Harry Kane in the advanced forward. If you're wondering why I've locked in Maddison, it's because the game has got a very annoying habit of playing Kuleveski in that spot there, and I don't really want him playing there. I want Kuleveski out here, Madison running in the central area. So hopefully this team can put up a decent shot in the first season. Let's go over and do that, and we're going to aim for the top 6. And the first season has been simulated, and it was a lot better than what I expected, to be fair, as we actually broke past that top 6 sort of expectation, and we've got into the Champions League by 4 points ahead of Arsenal, so quite comfortable as well. We won 24 of the games, drew 4 and lost 10, so definitely some room for improvement, which is good to see because we're going to be here for 4 to 5 years anyway. In terms of goal scorers, though, it is going to be who you expect. Rankin 1, Harry Kane, top Premier League goal scorer, something we're quite used to seeing, especially in FM. Now, over in the FA Cup, we got knocked out in the 5th round by Norwich City, so not a good display there. And even the Carabao Cup, we pretty much got knocked out by 2 teams here, which in my opinion, we should be beating both of these. I wasn't expecting to win the Cups, but there's no excuse to be losing to especially Norwich City. But over to the actual squad stats then, to see who performed and who didn't. We're going to have Harry Kane coming in with 51 goals, carrying the bulk load of the goals there, to be fair to him. Heung-min Son coming in with 16, 14 for Kuleveski, Madison with 11. Then there is quite a big drop-off. In fact, I don't think that's filtered correctly. There we go. It's still quite a big drop-off, though, as it then drops down to 6. So there's only really 4 players contributing with 10-plus goals, and one of them is carrying the bulk load massively. So we're going to try and fix that in the upcoming season. In terms of assists, we're going to have a decent effort, kind of spread about a little bit more. 18 from Kuleveski, Heung-min Son with 13, 13 for Madison, Pedro Porro with 10, 9 for Richarlison, Ollie Skip coming in with 7, 6 for Harry Kane, and 6 for Bentancur. So again, we're not really creating as many chances and scoring as many goals as what I would like to see, because we are purely relying on one player, which is obviously something, if you watch this channel a lot, I really don't like relying on, because anything can happen to him. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy is absolutely incredible, Harry Kane. We're looking at him right now, and he can literally do it all. He is age 30, though, so we have also got to take that into account. He's on an absolute ridiculous wage, but he is the best striker in the Premier League, especially on this game, and I think as it stands, we're going to have to pay him what he wants because we need him here. This second transfer window is going to be quite interesting because we have actually got 77, basically 78 million pounds to spend going into the second transfer window, and we have got a lot of areas to improve on. We have a little look right now, for example, at the squad planner, a feature we rarely use on this channel. We can actually have a real good look into here. So we've actually got sort of 3 keepers we could possibly look to offload, because I'm a big fan of only having 2. You only really need 2. You only need 2 goalkeepers. That's just facts, really. Right back situation, again, I'm going to try and cut it down and keep Porro and Spence. We don't really want Emerson Royale. I'm not a big fan of him at all. So again, his contract comes up in a couple of years. Hopefully we can sell him before that expires. In terms of the right back, we've got a big clearance, not right back, right centre back. We have got a big clearance needed for centre halves, as we want to offload Dyer, Davies, Rodon as well, and possibly we can keep this Brooklyn guy, but realistically these 3 in the middle right here we're going to try and offload. So I'm just spending a little bit of time right now just to show you exactly what the plans are for this team. And in terms of left backs, I want to really keep, for now, obviously Doji is absolutely incredible. Regulion's also a very, very good player as well. And also Ryan Sessegnon, I'm a big fan of him. So the only real guaranteed player to leave here is going to be Ben Davies. And don't get me wrong, he's not that bad of a player if we have a quick look at him. He's not awful, but he's just getting older, and I don't think he's going to go too far in the future. In terms of midfield players, we've actually got quite a good option. I mean, we've got really good options. And Ndombele's not even that bad. Lo Celso's not awful. But these 2 are definitely going to be the first 2 to leave, because obviously, likes of Bentancur, Bissouma, Højbjerg, I do sort of prefer. But you can see here some of the contract situations. Lo Celso's going to expire next year, so is Ndombele, so is Højbjerg. So it could actually be Højbjerg goes out first compared to the other players I just put above him. Or below him, should I say, sorry. But we have got a lot of options in that deeper midfield role. The right-hand side, we're quite set, to be honest. The only player that I'm really looking to offload is going to be Brian Gill, as I really don't rate him in real life or in the game. He always has great potential, and I never see him actually live up to it. In the middle, it's pretty restricted, to be honest. At the moment, we have really only got James Maddison that is a complete attacker midfield player, in my opinion. So possibly we need to sign a backup in that area, because at the moment, it's going to sort of be Harry Kane covering it. If he's obviously injured, that would be James Maddison. Kuleveski, we need a backup option in that area. On the left-hand side, obviously we've got Heung-min Son, who we're definitely going to keep. He needs a new contract, so that is going to cost some cash. Perisic, I really have no interest in keeping him, so he's most likely going to go out on the free. In fact, I believe that he's actually expired. It's going to expire soon. Richarlison's a funny one, because we look at Richarlison, and he reminds me of a bit. He reminds me a bit like João Pedro. He can sort of do it all. Obviously, João Pedro can play in all three areas. Richarlison can comfortably play in two. He's very well balanced in terms of his attributes, but you rarely actually get to see a Richarlison that performs that well in an entire season. So we're going to keep him around for a couple of seasons, see what he offers. And obviously up top, we've got the likes of Harry Kane. We've obviously got Dane Scarlett coming back from loan and Richarlison as backup. So we definitely need to make some backup signings up the field as well. So it's going to be a very, very intense second transfer window. But let's go over and do that. So firstly, we're going to wave goodbye to Joe Rodon. He obviously goes to West Ham United, and realistically, he just never got things going here. He's been with us for 3 years, obviously only one of them being me in charge. He never really took off, did he? He spent most of his time in the Championship, really, in this stint here. And I just feel like he's not really at the level that we're going to be at. We're trying to move forward, be Champions League contenders, and he just doesn't fit in that category. Up next is going to be Fraser Forster, and he actually gets a move to PSG, so a very luxury move for Fraser Forster. I don't know why they signed him. He only cost 100k, to be fair, but as you can see by his attributes and his age, he isn't really a big loss. Don't worry, we have not sold him. We have decided to loan out Divine, and that is because he is a very, very good player. As you can see, he is absolutely crazy when it comes to the potential, and I hope we get to see that. And I feel like I can't guarantee him a first-team spot with the midfielders we've got. So sending him out on loan is a very logical option. And I'm hoping at Bolton, he can sort of come in and actually put on a display. I mean, Bolton obviously are in Sky Bet League 1, so he should dominate that league and put up some really good stats. Next is going to be Tanganga, and he goes to Juventus on the permanent because realistically, he didn't even have that good of a season, but they wanted to sign him £7.5 million. Obviously, we could improve significantly on a defender compared to Tanganga. So sorry for the Tottenham fans that like him, but he just really didn't cut the mustard in this season out on loan, and therefore it was a gamble me even taking him back. Next, we're going to have Eric Dyer, who actually leaves on the free. He goes to Lazio, and again, in terms of attributes, he's got a lot in the green, to be fair to him, but he's not really that good in the game or in real life, in my opinion. He's had a great career at Tottenham. You can see here, he's been here for several seasons. Obviously, he was in Portugal for a fair bit as well, but he finally moves to Lazio in the 2023 season, and hopefully he can have a good time over there. Also wave goodbye to Brian Gill, who goes to RB Leipzig, a bit of a strange move, but he goes for £23.5 million, which in my opinion is actually a really good deal for us. Again, he's not horrific, but he's just not really a player that I'm a big fan of, and I don't think he's going to get in the team too often. In terms of his career, he has been a little bit of everywhere. Obviously, a lot of time over in Spain, playing for Sevilla, then the B team, and obviously Leganés, and then he played for Eibar, come to Tottenham, Valencia, Tottenham, RB Leipzig. He's bouncing about clubs almost every single season, so he's not really settled in anywhere. And then the last departure, the big departure, is going to be Emerson Royale, who goes to Benfica, £7.5 million, and I just wanted to get this guy gone because he was not wanting to sign a new contract. He was going to pretty much want his contract to expire. And I did try and offer him a new one, just so I had more time to sell him. But luckily, Benfica come in and rescued the day and offered him an amount which probably isn't enough for him realistically. Could probably got double for him, but I can see him being a tricky player to offload. So he now joins Benfica after playing a career of at several different clubs. Obviously started off in the first division in Brazil, then obviously in the second division, back up to the first division, goes to Barca, Real Spales, to Barca, to Tottenham, where he hasn't really had a great time at all, and now to Benfica for 4 million, and he goes, did I say 7.5? I meant 4 million. I do apologise about that. 4 million, and he goes to Portugal, and that is a done deal. Of course, when you do sell players over, that does mean you can bring more players in, and that's exactly what we have done by bringing in the first side, and it's going to be Coop Miners, should I say. And this guy, obviously, we all know him on FM. He's a very popular sign, and if you want a bit of an experienced midfield player that has played for some very decent sides and gained lots of good experience, this is a very solid option to go to. As you can see by his attributes here, he is very, very balanced. But more importantly, we've signed him just because he is going to cover several roles in that midfield. So if we ever decide to switch positions in that midfield, which I often do, because you can't really stick with the same tactic for more than one season, you have to make odd changes to obviously keep competitive and keep trying to be competitive for the Champions League and also the Premier League. But in terms of his history, he's had quite a basic history, to be honest, spending most of the time in the Dutch league between obviously AZ and obviously The second team over there, he goes to Atalanta for 12 million in 2021 season, where he has 2 seasons here, and to be honest, he doesn't really set it alight, but he's not really a player that is going to get loads of assists and loads of goals, but good enough for us to sign him. He picked up my eye, and there he goes to Tottenham for £26 million. And now this guy is a very unorthodox signing, but he was on the free, and to be honest, it did influence why we got him. Just being honest with you guys, that is going to be Solomon, and he is actually quite a good player, and again, he's great backup. He pretty much stands out when it comes to the dribbling side of the game, and he fits in the team because pretty much we've got that situation of, I know we've got Son on the left, we've got Richarlison, but Richarlison realistically is our only backup that can cover the left and up front. So I want Richarlison to focus on being a backup striker. So now this guy can come in and be the first sort of backup. That sounds really weird saying the first, but the first backup option to Heung-min Son. Now this guy has played majority of his time obviously over in Ukraine, coming from Israel actually for 5.2 million, where he had 5 seasons over at Shakhtar, and we have picked him up, obviously you can see here, on the free. So in my opinion, a very good signing, considering the fact he is obviously worth at the moment between 57 and 71 million pounds. Then we go over to Wolfsburg and we sign Mickey van de Ven, and this obviously guy, he was linked to Tottenham for absolutely ages, and I'm thinking that we can try and make this signing actually happen and actually work. Well, the signing has happened. Hopefully we can get him to perform in that Tottenham shirt. Now, a real big part of me signing this guy is because not only can he play centre-back, which is where he's actually brought in to play, but you get such a good player, guys. You really do. I mean, he is absolutely rapid for a centre-back. I mean, 17 pace at centre-back is absolutely incredible, but also he can play left-back, and it is an area which we might run into problems with. Obviously, we're going to have Reguilon, who is obviously getting older, and we're going to have possibly the likes of Udo. You don't know what happens with him. He might want to go to a bigger club. He's one of the best left-backs in the game, so it is very handy to have a player that can cover that position if it does go south. But in terms of left-back and centre-back, he can play both of them very comfortably as well. He's only 23 years of age. He cost us a fair bit to get here, to be fair to him. He's on just under £100,000 a week. And in terms of his history as well, he's spent all of his time really in Holland. Then he goes to Wolfsburg, obviously, for a couple of seasons for £3 million, where Wolfsburg turn a £26 million profit as we sign him for £29 million. Go over and we sign Tobido. Now, this guy is a very Tottenham-based player, in my opinion. I don't think you're ever going to see a Liverpool, a City, anyone like that really go in for him. But he is a very good player. Don't get me twisted with that. And I think Tottenham is going to suit him very, very well. Again, he is absolutely rapid, meaning we're going to have a very quick back line, which is something Tottenham haven't had in absolutely years. Very good tackling as well for the lad as well. 24 years of age, so not old by any means of the imagination. Current ability of 3, potential is at 3, so you are pretty much seeing him at his peak, which is completely fine because he's actually a really good centre-back as he is. And again, in terms of his history, he has spent majority of his time over in France, obviously starting at the Lens FC, goes to Toulouse on the free as well, then goes to Barcelona for £875,000, goes to loan to Schalke, then he goes back to Barcelona, to Benfica, to Nice, obviously permanently there for 10.7 million, but they turn a tidy little profit, selling them to us for £24.5 million. And this is going to be the team I'm going to lock in for the second season. That is going to be Kane, Maddison, Son, Silva, Romero, Porro, and Sanchez. Again, I might actually not lock in these two. In fact, we're not going to lock in these centre-backs because we want to see a mixture of Romero, Silva, Tobido, and obviously Mickey van de Ven. So we're actually going to remove these two from the back, and we're just going to lock in the keeper, Porro, Maddison, Son, and Kane. That seems a lot more realistic. So let's go over to the second season and see exactly how we can do. So the second season has been done, and although we've remained trophyless, we actually managed to finish second, just behind Liverpool by 4 points. So we are definitely a lot more competitive than what we have been previously in the first season. Obviously gaining 2 places, which is not half bad at all. Within 27 games, drawing 3 and only losing 8. So definitely an improvement there. Harry Kane with 31 league goals, Heung-min Son with 16 assists, and James Maddison with the highest average rating at 7.33. In terms of the Champions League, we get all the way to the quarterfinals, so not bad for a first attempt in the Champions League in this save. In terms of the English Cups, it's not awful, but it is a little bit annoying that we've been knocked out by Liverpool on both occasions, because that means that Liverpool have pretty much done the treble over us. They beat us just in the league. They've beaten us in both cups. Clearly, we've got a mental block against Liverpool, so that is something we're going to need to figure out. Talking of Liverpool, I just need to see it for myself. What is their team looking like at the moment? In It's looking pretty much exactly the same. Obviously, they have got Ward-Prowse, they've got Neves in there. Anybody else? Obviously, Szoboszlai's there now. A great signing for them. McAllister, they have got obviously Pedro as well, who looks fairly decent. Can't really complain about that either. They've got a very, very good looking team, to be fair to them, so we can't really complain. Over to the squad stats then, we are going to see a very similar story. It is going to be Harry Kane. Not as many goals this season, but still over 40, which is really, really impressive. 20 for James Maddison, Heung-min Son coming in with 14, 10 for Kulusevski, 7 for Richarlison, Solomon coming in with 6. Not a great first season from him, but it is a settle-in season nevertheless. And in terms of assists, we've got 23 for Heung-min Son, 16 for Kulusevski, James Maddison with 12, Porro with 9, 8 for Solomon, 8 for Harry Kane, Mickey van der Ven coming in with 6, enjoying a okay first season, actually quite a good first season to be fair. Who actually did have the best season? It is going to be Heung-min Son with a 7.29. Then James Maddison, so that's good to see. At least the Maddison signing is really paying off. A 7.16 out of Harry Kane. Who performed quite bad then? Who performed quite bad? I mean, some of these players didn't even actually play, I would imagine. Antonio Silva didn't have a great season there. A 6.87. Did he play a lot? 54 games as well. Yeah. He did not have a great season, Antonio Silva, so we're going to keep a close eye on him. But going into this next season, we've actually got £100 million, pretty much bang on, to spend. And realistically, I'm looking at the team. We're going to go to the squad planner again because it's a great underappreciated feature, in my opinion. Goalkeepers, we are completely fine in. Contracts are completely fine. In the right-back area, again, completely fine. I'm trying to limit it to 2 positions, 2 players per position, because realistically, that is all you need. Obviously, you can get a few more in midfield. Centre-back wise, have we got anyone? Ben Davies' contract is going to be expiring soon. That's completely fine. We're going to try and sell him. If we can't, he can go on the free. I'm not too fussed. Everyone else is completely fine, realistically. No new contracts need to be given out in that situation. The left back, we're going to have, he needs a contract. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a very tough one because I feel like he might be tempted by other clubs. Obviously, Reguilon's fine as well. Ben Davies is going. We've got Mickey van der Ven, he is fine. And also Ryan Sessegnon. So realistically, we've got to make a decision on Ben Davies and Reguilon. These two are going to be the decisions which we need to do. Well, Ben Davies has already decided. He is out the door. But as for Reguilon, we're going to have a little think about him. In midfield, wow, we have got a lot of players here. So we have got Højbjerg, we have got Ndombele and Lo Celso. All of their contracts expired, or pretty much expiring very soon. And these are 3 players that I would rather sell. I want to sell them. So we're going to try and offload all of these 3 before they go out on the free. Actually, I can see right now, he's actually going on the free here, I imagine, to Monaco. So we can wave goodbye to Ndombele, that's definitely for sure. In terms of other players, though, I mean, we're going to definitely offer the likes of Ben Sakura contract, possibly, or definitely Basuma as well. Harvey White we can let go as well. And that's going to be the midfield sorted. So quite a lot to do in that area. On the left-hand side, Heung-min Son, he's still in contract. Everyone's fine in this area, I believe. Still got a few years left, so no stress there. In the middle, Kulusevski's fine. Maddison's obviously fine. Harry Kane needs a contract, so let's go and do that because he is definitely going to stay at the club. On the right, Richarlison's fine for now. We've got to make a decision on Richarlison. I mean, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. I mean, I know a lot of them were as subs. I know a lot of them were as substitutes, guys, but he is not developing well, and I feel like on 175k a week, we need to be seeing more from him. So we're going to make a decision on that. And obviously, we need to also get Dane Scarlett back into this first team because he is still at the club. And Troy Parrott can also go on the free because I'm not too fussed about keeping him around. But that's a lot of work to do. I like doing the squad planner. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I like going into that because you can actually see the exact players and it lists everything a lot more cleaner than what it does in the squad screen. But let's go over to the third transfer window and see what magic we can do. So the first player is going to be Lo Celso, who goes to Brentford after multiple failed transfer opportunities for him. He wanted basically more money. And he goes to Brentford for £10 million. So not bad from us at all. Obviously, he had a very good stint at Tottenham for quite a few years. We have lost a little bit of money on him, about 18 million we have lost from him here. He only was ever out on loan once to Villarreal. And obviously, he now goes to Brentford. So he remains in the Premier League, which I imagine is something he wanted for a staggering £10 million. Next up is going to be Ben Davies. He joins Leicester City for £6.2 million. And as you can see right now, Ben Davies has been at Tottenham for a very long time. So he has done his job. He's now 32. He's got to move on. He remains in the Prem, still at a fairly decent club. So Leicester have gained quite a good player there for only £6.2 million. He's not going to be going alone as Højbjerg does join him at Leicester City. And Højbjerg, again, he's a player which isn't half bad. He's actually quite a good midfield player, but he is getting on. He wanted a ridiculous amount of money, and to be honest, he wasn't even fully satisfied at what I offered him. So I thought I'm going to offload him, possibly bring in some younger midfield players, and he goes to Leicester for £10 million. So realistically, only a £7 million loss on him, and he's actually done quite a lot for the club since being here. He's always been a consistent performer. So he remains in the Prem, obviously goes with his mate Ben Davies to Leicester, which is quite nice. So Leicester picking up a couple of very good players. So Dane Scarlett has come back, and we've sent him back out on loan at Derby because he's just not really developing at all. He's not had good loan spells, and this is going to be his last chance to show me he can do something even at a lower level. Let's not forget, he has been playing at a lower level and still not performing, so it's not going the way I want at all. I do really like Dane Scarlett, but if he's not going to perform, he can see the door as well. And obviously also Ndombele has gone to Monaco. We did sort of see that already, so there's no real point going over that again. First player is going to be Manu Kone that we bring in. He is going to set us back £40 million, but you are picking up one hell of a player. 24 years of age, he is already a world-class midfield player. He can play in pretty much every position in the midfield and also in the deeper areas as well. In terms of his attributes, realistically, he is going to be getting in the team quite convincingly. I mean, he's incredibly balanced. He has got great dribbling, great aggression, great bravery, and he is pretty much everything we want in this team. He's also not half bad when it comes to his pace as well. So he is going to be working a lot, and that is something which he can do. Good work. He's pretty much just an all-round midfield player at the age of 24. In terms of the money we spent to get him in, 40 million might be a fair bit, but he's actually valued between 57 and 74 million pounds on 160,000 pounds a week. And in terms of his history, he has been at Germany for most of his, not really most of his years, split between the French league and the German league. Obviously started off at Toulouse, then he goes to Borussia Mönchengladbach for £7.7 million, goes back to the French league, I imagine, almost instantly. Then he goes back to obviously Gladbach, where he must have had a decent couple of seasons as Wolfsburg pay £46.5 million for him. And we come in and take him off Wolfsburg literally a season later for 40 million. So hopefully he is very good for us. And then we pick up Jeremy Pino. Now, this is a winger. When I want to sign a winger for Tottenham, I don't want to go out and sign a Rafael Leao or a, certain Napoli winger, which I can't say the name, and I know I'm butchering names a lot lately, so I'm not going to say it, but there's a couple of players which, would be lovely to see, but Jeremy Pino is a player which I can imagine actually going to Tottenham, because, again, he's a very similar sort of standard. When we talk about Tobido, he's a very good player, but is a Man City going to go for him, and Liverpool? Probably not, so sort of a Newcastle or Tottenham are going to be your next best options if he ever wanted to come to the Prem. And I hope he can perform because his attributes are absolutely incredible. He's a very tricky, quick winger with good finishing, great technique, great vision as well. And one of the reasons why we have got him in this team is going to be the fact that he can play on the left and on the right, so he can really help us out here. He can cover us in several positions if needed to, not that he would ever really be required to do it. He could also play in the middle and also up front, so you're getting a player here that can cover 4 positions. In terms of the money, he costs us a fair bit, we're going to see in a second, but he is valued at 84 to 105 million. He is on 400,000 a week, but that is what you pay when you sign a 22-year-old elite winger who has got 4.5-star current ability. That's what you pay. And in terms of his history, he has been pretty much, or he has been at Spain his entire career, and most of it has been at Villarreal, and I do hope he can transition into a great Premier League player as well. I think he is by far the best option we could have signed in terms of keeping it realistic and picking up a world-class winger, and he set us back £62 million. I kept mentioning we need backup to Maddison. We need an actual attacker midfield player that is only in that position mainly, that can sort of cover Maddison when he gets injured, and also he is getting older. And we turn to Zacharian, obviously a player which is very well known around the FM community, very nice balanced attributes to kick things off, and you sign this guy because at the end of the day, he's 22. It's not that expensive to have at the club either. £115,000 isn't too bad, really. His ability at the moment's 2.5, but he can grow up to a 4. So you are essentially signing this guy for the future. And in my opinion, he's going to fit into this Tottenham team really, really well. In terms of his career, he's obviously been over in the Russian division his entire career playing for Dynamo Moscow, and I'm hoping that he can make the transition quite easily over to the Premier League, because Maddison did have a few injuries last season, and obviously as Maddison gets older, he's going to pick up more injuries and possibly even fall off a little bit. And this could be a great opportunity for a player like Zakarian to come in and really cement that first team spot. And this is going to be the team we're going to lock in for that third season. And we've actually been a little bit more restrictive of the players we're going to lock in, because we're now adding a lot more depth to the team. There are 3 positions that I definitely want to see 100% of the time being played, if they can, by the players, are going to be Heung-min Son, Harry Kane and Jeremy Pino. I feel like this front 3 now is simply world class. I mean, all 3 of them are literally world class players, and this 3 is as good as any team in the world. So I'm hoping we can actually start to win some trophies now. I've kept literally every other position empty. Possibly, in fact, to tell you what I am going to do, I'm going to put in Sanchez here because he is by far still the best goalkeeper. But everybody else, as you can see, they can sort of, we've got options everywhere around the field now. So we want to give everybody a shot. You can see constantly that this formation, every single player role is going to be changing. So I wouldn't recommend copying the tactic until right at the end, because at the end of the day, I change it every single season. And I might even change it back and back after the last season. So it's all about just, you have to tweak it to your needs. It's what you have to do with a tactic. So let's go over with these players locked in with a slightly tweaked variant of the tactic and see how we do in the third season. Season 3 has been simulated, guys, and we have actually come away Premier League champions. So that is a very, very good third season, and also winning the FA Cup here, which also is a very good accomplishment against, even better, Chelsea in a 3-0 win. Now, in terms of the Champions League, we also got to the Champions League final, as you can see right now, where we lost 1-0 to PSG, where Harry Kane actually was the rank 1 goal scorer with 21 goals. Now, realistically, this is a real... Actually, I forgot about a trophy here. With treble winners, we won the Carabao Cup as well. It's because there's so many trophies on the screen. So that's actually going to be a treble winning season in the third season. We beat Liverpool 3-1. So that's nice as well, because we actually managed to beat Liverpool in a cup final. So that is actually a very impressive season. A treble winning season. It could have been actually... We could have won 5 trophies this season. We also lost the Community Shield in the bottom here, where we lost to Liverpool in a 2-1 game. So if a couple more finals went in our way, we could have walked away with 5 trophies in the third season. And we did win it on goal difference, I would imagine, against Chelsea. 37 league goals from Harry Kane. I mean, this guy is getting older, and he's still not really slowing up that much. Heung-min Son, most assists and the highest rating as well. Harry Kane pretty much scoring the top goals in every single competition. He is not slowing down at all. Going over the goals, we are slowly eliminating that problem on purely relying on the one player. Now, obviously, we are going to have one player scoring the majority, because this tactic is very feed the striker heavy, and he comes in, Harry Kane, with 75 goals. Heung-min Son with 28. We've got Jeremy Pino with 28, a great first season from him. 18 coming in for Christian Romero from centre-half, so the set pieces from Nap are always incredible, and this just shows it. 13 for Kuleveski, Zakarian with 11, 10 for Koopmeyers, Maddison with 8, 7 for Richarlison, and Manu Kone coming in with 6. In terms of assists, we've got 36 for Heung-min Son, enjoying a very good season. Pedro Porro with 22, 21 for Jeremy Pino, Kuleveski with 19, 12 for Maddison, Zakarian with 11, 10 for Harry Kane, 9 for Kone. It's going to be Udogie coming in with 9, and Koopmeyers also joining him with bang on 9. So we are seeing a team now that is really performing as a unit. We're not relying on individual players to carry the entire bulk load of the team, and that's exactly what we want to be seeing, because if a player gets injured like a Harry Kane or something like that, we're not as reliant on him. We can obviously turn to different players to pick up the goals. And talking about players, I mean, Jeremy Pino enjoying one hell of a season. I mean, 63 games, 28 goals, 21 assists. He is enjoying a great season, ranking third the highest when it comes to the average rating, just behind Son and a little bit behind Harry Kane. And I mean, this team is going from strength to strength right now. Going into the next season, we have got £64 million to spend. So not as much, as bad as that sounds, because it is still a big amount of money. But looking at the team, I mean, a lot of the positions, guys, are going to be very, very covered. I mean, I'm thinking of the goalkeeper. You can see Sanchez is okay, but I feel like we could bring in a better keeper. So obviously, Vaccaro here. Keep Sanchez as the backup. Bring in possibly a 3 to 4 star ability goalkeeper. Right back, I'm quite happy with how we are. Centre backs, I feel like these are going to be they're 4 very, very good centre back options. On the left, we've obviously got Reguilon, we've got Udogie, we've got Ryan Sessegnon. Looking at their contracts, it's going to be Reguilon who is most likely going to be out the door first. In the midfield, obviously, we've got an absolute stacked option here. 2026, though, we've got the likes of Skip, Sarr, and Devine. Obviously, contracts all coming to expiry. Devine, he's not really doing anything. He's not really growing when he's out on loan. He's very similar to Dane Scarlett. I'm giving him the opportunity to go out on loan and grow, and he's not accepting it at all. On the left-hand side, we have got anyone coming up. We have got Richarlison. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to sell him. I'm sorry, I know he cost a lot for Tottenham, but he has absolutely been diabolical. He reminds me very much of the Mudryk situation in the Chelsea rebuild. An expensive winger / sort of striker in Richarlison's case, and they just simply do not deliver after giving so many chances to a player. And I was hoping he could come in from the start and possibly, contribute 25 goals a season, 20 goals a season, 7 assists, 10 assists, something like that. Sort of what Jeremy Pino has been doing in his first season, and he's got nowhere near to it. In the middle, obviously, we've got Kulusevski we've got to keep around, obviously. Solomon, he's not been great, but his contract's going to be until 2028, so we don't need to worry about him. On the right, we've got anybody else. Jed Spence needs a new contract. He's definitely going to get one as well. Up front, Harry Kane isn't there. That worries me. Harry Kane. Now I'm worrying. He's here until 2026. So yeah, he needs a new contract. So we're going to go and offer him one. For a second, I thought he agreed a contract elsewhere. But let's go over to the 4th transfer window. First, we're going to make sure we keep Harry Kane. So then, Tottenham fans, unfortunately, Ollie Skip is going to be departing the club and he goes to rivals Chelsea. And the only reason I've done this is because he doesn't really fear me that much. I don't think he's going to get into this Chelsea team and cause that many issues. And when you see the price tag we got for him, you can see why we've done it. Chelsea paid £44 million for Ollie Skip. And in that situation, I simply couldn't turn it down. It is literally season-changing money. We can use this money to bring in somebody better and definitely make a bit more of an impact than what he's done at this club. He's been at the club pretty much for his entire career, only 1 season out on loan at Norwich. So he has been a very respectable and loyal member of the club. But at the end of the day, sometimes money talks. Reguilon also departs, going to Al Ghaffara. And this again is a signing which pretty much is made based off the fact he is getting older. We've also got 2 very good left-back options. And they offered a decent amount, to be honest. He has been, obviously, now going to Qatar for £15 million after having a very good stint at Tottenham for 5 years. Obviously, he's been at some big clubs, this lad, to be fair. Real Madrid, he's been at Spain majority of his career. 5 seasons in England, and now he goes to Qatar. So wherever he's been, he's not picked up a bad pay packet either. We also uploaded our 2nd place goalkeeper, and the only reason we sold him, and was pretty much instantly to do it, and this pretty much guaranteed the decision to drop Sanchez to the bench and bring in a better keeper, is because it is going to be Lazio offering 10.7 million for a backup goalkeeper is not half bad at all. Next up is going to be Richarlison. He goes to RB Leipzig alongside, obviously, previously of Brian Gill. So Leipzig are pretty much signing all of our rejects, is how it seems. And again, Richarlison, we sell him for 19.5 million, so quite a big loss from the 56 million pounds that Tottenham spent on him. But he's had big transfer fees before. I mean, so Everton paid 40 million. To be fair, they turned a profit on him. We definitely didn't. But realistically, he's just been absolutely abysmal ever since he's been at Tottenham. So I'm happy to see the back of him. And lastly, it is going to be a player which I didn't actually decide to necessarily sell, but he didn't want to stay at the club, and I was scared he was going to go on a free, and that is going to be Basuma. He goes to Everton, a very good signing for Everton, realistically, who are still in the Prem, so hats off to them, and his career stats are going to be a very nice mixture. And to be honest, we did actually turn a profit on him. We obviously brought him in for 31 million from Brighton, and we have sold him for 35 to Everton 3 seasons later. And he is a big loss to the team, but trust me, we have brought in some big players. And we're going to kick things off with Nonto, and that is going to be a sign-in to replace Richarlison, replace some of the wingers we have lost. And again, this guy, he can literally play everywhere. This is also preparing ourselves to that day where sadly Harry Kane is going to leave or retire, and this guy can play up top very, very comfortably. He's a very different striker to Harry Kane. He's a lot more sort of direct and a lot more rapid in behind sort of runs. He's 22 years of age, already going to set us back a fair whack. He's actually valued between 86 and 105 million pounds. He's on 175,000 pounds a week. Current ability 3, potential of 4.5. In terms of his history, yeah, he set us back £60 million. Let's just be realistic. It's a fair amount, obviously coming from Leeds, where they have turned a £55 million profit. So, great bit of business from Leeds. Next up is going to be the first team goalkeeper. That is going to be Kakir, obviously coming in. And this keeper is a very reliable option. And again, a goalkeeper that I can see one day being lured to Tottenham if he ever wants to move to the Premier League. It's a very sort of Tottenham-based signing, in my opinion. And to be fair to him, he is a bit older. He's 30 years of age. But I think possibly the goalkeeper was the one position we were a little bit weak in. He's going to be pretty much a star upgrade. This guy obviously is going to be 3.5 stars. Valued between 54 and 64 million pounds, 140,000 pounds a week he is currently on, and his attributes are absolutely incredible. In terms of his history, he has played pretty much all of his time in Turkey when he was younger. He then goes to Brighton for 10.2 million, where he plays there for 3 seasons, and he comes to us for triple the value at 30 million. Last signing is going to be Wonder Kid Asan, and this is basically a signing for the future, as you can tell, as he currently is only 2.5 star ability, but his attributes are actually looking a lot better than that. Some very good balanced attributes. Again, he can play, if you wanted to, on the right for some reason. He's not going to be playing there, don't you worry. He can play up the pitch, he can also play deeper in the pitch, and again, 20 years of age, tons of potential. He did set us back a fair bit, as you can imagine, for a player of this caliber and the potential he has. That is going to be a £40 million free from Schalke. I mean, Schalke do produce some of the best talent around, so I'm very confident this guy can grow, and actually, I'm hoping in his first season he gets game time, because his attributes aren't honestly too bad. If we look at him here, he can go toe-to-toe with quite a few midfield players that are actually in the first team, so I'm hoping this guy does get a look in. For this next season, I've decided to filter it by the best 11. Don't worry, these are not all locked in. I just wanted to see what the game thinks. And the game thinks it's going to be, obviously, Kakir in goal, Porro, Silva, Romero, Udogie, Kone, we have got Coop Myers, Pino, Maddison, Monto, and also Harry Kane. But if you look at the bench we have left these, the whole squad we have left these guys, we have left them so far with an incredible team. And obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. We might be here for a few more seasons, and we might find it a lot more hard if we don't have this man up top. But we've obviously got Kakir, Sanchez. When it comes to the back line, we've obviously got Porro, Silva, Romero, Udogie, but then we've got Mickey van der Ven, we've got Tobido, we have obviously got Sessegnon still here. We've just got a really, really good backup. Pretty much everyone has got cover in their positions, as you can see here, and it's just a really good team we put together. And I'm hoping, possibly not this season, but in that 5th season, we can try and win that Champions League title, because that's where we're going to end it. Because we've won the Premier League, we've won some of the English trophies, but that Champions League needs to be won. So let's go over to that 4th season and see how far we can get in it. Well, the 4th season is going to be the final season, as we do win the Premier League title. We also win the Champions League in a very dramatic 3-2 win over Barcelona, which I think we are going to watch. We also pick up the FA Cup, making it a treble winning season. And do you know what? I'm not even going to focus on these 2 negatives, because it's such a positive. We have won the Premier League and the Champions League in the same season. The Premier League was quite close, though. Only 4 points separating us and Liverpool in 2nd place. In terms of the goals, it is going to be Harry Kane, obviously, with the most goals of 34. Yeremy Pino with 18 assists and a 7.43 match rating. Champions League, Harry Kane top goal scorer. FA Cup, Harry Kane and Yeremy Pino being the joint top goal scorers. And I think this guy, he deserves a lot of credit, because he has come in and he has put on an absolute show. He's maxed out a 5-star ability right now, and I think, he's now valued between 112 and 134 million pounds. If you look at his career stats, since he's joined Tottenham, you can see this is just in the Premier League alone. He has had 2 very, very impressive seasons, and what a signing he has turned out to be. But in terms of the actual squad, again, we're seeing a nice mixture now. We've got 61 from Kane, 30 from Pino, Kulusevski with 27, Monto enjoying a great season as well with 20, Zacharima with 17, 14 for Romero from the back, Kone coming in with 9, 8 for Coop Myers, Son with 6, who is slowly declining. Assist-wise, we've got 38 for Pino, incredible scenes. 19 from Nonto, Zacharima with 17, 17 for Porro, Kulusevski coming in with 16, 12 for Son, 12 for Maddison. So a nice mixture of talent, a nice mixture of assists and goals from a wide variety of players. And if we were going to carry on this rebuild, we would have actually had £102 million to spend, which, yeah, we could have definitely taken over world football. But the Champions League final is going to be the game that we watch, as it is going to be a 3-2 win. So not the most perfect game from us, but nevertheless we did win it, as we are going to take the lead there. A great ball from obviously Van der Ven in the mix to Pino, who's not really known for his heading ability, but obviously does get a very good goal there. And it looks like we do actually lead by 2, so it would have been a typical old Tottenham bottle, as we do go up 2-0 there from a very scrappy set piece. Barcelona clearly get back into the game here, or in fact, do we actually go 3-0 up? I think we go 3-0 up. I believe we do. That's a great bit of play. Great finish from Monto as well. We went 3-0 up and we nearly bottled it. We're going to watch the goals just to see exactly what happened, as it is going to be Romero from the back into Koopmeiners. Just gets absolutely outpressed there. A great run from Ansu Fati. And it's a decent finish into the bottom right corner. So they get that goal in the 56th minute. We then held on to the 81st. So to be fair, we didn't collapse fully, as that's a great ball and an even better first touch. Porro with a little bit of a deflected challenge there. Ball across into Lewandowski. And luckily we held on, but that was a very good final. So we do this little thing at the end of the videos where we look over what we've won, but firstly, we go over the players and we give them rewards, but you give them a nice little award. So the first one, we're going to add another one in today. That is going to be the best signing. And the best signing, in my opinion, is going to be Yeremy Pino. He cost us a fair amount of money, but ever since he has joined, he has completely transformed this team around. And I really think that without him, we probably wouldn't have won the Champions League as quickly. He's been consistent. He has scored lots. He's assisted lots. There's not really much to critique him on. And going over to the next one, we're going to go to the Best Player Award. This is the best player since the start of the save, and that is going to be Harry Kane. I don't think we can really deny it. He's been the top goal scorer in every single season. He's not even slowed up at the age of 33. And I want to know in the comments right now, what do you think Harry Kane's going to do in this future? Is he ever going to leave Tottenham, or is he going to retire here, as he is going to do in this rebuild? Because I personally can see him staying at Tottenham for the rest of his career. Now, there were quite a few contenders for the biggest letdown. That was tied between Dane Scarlett, Alfie Devine. But looking at the money we spent on this player, Richarlison has to get it. He was an absolute letdown from the second we took over this club. And considering we spent, what did we spend on him again? £56 million to bring him to the club, and he contributed literally nothing. You can see here how poor he was. He wins it by quite a clean mile. Biggest surprise, I'm actually going to give to James Maddison. Now, it might be a little bit weird, because last season he didn't even play that many games, but for the full season he was the clear favourite. He has actually been really, really impressive, and I was at the start of the video. I was very sort of reluctant and I don't know whether I could trust him, whether he'd even be good in his Tottenham team, but he has been really, really good. So I'm hoping we can see this sort of performance in real life, because he's a great player, and I just hope that going to Tottenham is going to be the right move for him as well. But please let me know in the comments what you think of all of these opinions, because I do like to have a discussion in the comments, whether that be about football players, transfers, whatever it is, FM, I don't really mind. But be sure to leave a comment on two things. Where do you think Harry Kane's going to end up, and what do you think of the Maddison signing? Realistically, before we do end the video, of course, we're going to see what we've done, and we've actually had a really good time over here with Tottenham. Obviously, in the 2024 season, runners-up in the Community Shield. 2025 season, we won the Carabao Cup, we also won the Premier League, we won the FA Cup, and runners-up in the Champions League. 2025 as well, actually, we had a very good season there. English Community Shield runners-up, and the 2026 season, Premier League champions, FA Cup winners, and also Champions League winners. So yeah, I would say a very successful 4-year period with Tottenham Hotspur. And if you do enjoy the rebuilds on this channel, please do consider leaving the like, hitting the subscribe button, and also turn on the notifications. And I also want to thank any tactical people, any tactic guys that are here purely for tactics, that have clicked on this video, giving the rebuilds a chance. It does mean a lot. I put all my time into making these rebuilds as sort of entertaining as I can. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys are here for tactics, and that is why I do obviously try and include a little bit of tactical talk in these rebuilds for you. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one.